On-air editor for CNBC, John Fortt. Joining John are the president of Cox Communications, Pat Esser, and the president of development and sales for Cisco Systems, Rob Lloyd.
John, good to see you. Seriously, thanks for doing this.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's talk about cable. No, starting off, let's talk about the merger mania a bit. Lots of speculation about what the potential Comcast-Time Warner tie-up could mean for Cox. I mean, should you have come out more strongly against this thing? Maybe you could have gotten 500,000 subscribers out of it. I don't know.
I'm a believer that the more the industry works in a cooperative fashion, the more we work on creating standardized platforms, the more we look for universal solutions, all boats rise, and we're in a better place. And the Comcast, Time Warner, Comcast Charter agreement, I think actually helps us move along that continuum. As an industry working together, it simplifies some things. And the more we create standardized industry platforms, the better off our customers will be and the better business opportunities I have.
If the others get bigger, do they drive down the cost of content for everybody, or can they afford to pay more and end up driving up the cost of content for you?
I don't think it's a content discussion. I think it's a platform discussion. That's why we had Rob here come here today. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on, trends going on in our space, and you're going to see the need to create standardized industry platforms. And when we do that, innovation shows up right on top of it. We have example after example. And if we can do that in a few more parts of our business that are very fast growing, this business can continue to grow for a long time.
All right, Rob, let's talk about that. I mean, Cisco has been vocal about Internet of Things. Not sure we've found quite the right name for it yet, but lots of different types of objects that we're not used to being connected to the internet, connecting. Light bulbs, thermostats, et cetera, even outside the home. When are we going to see that vision really start to accelerate even more? We're seeing home automation stuff. Businesses are getting a bit involved, but what's it going to take to really make this launch?
Yeah, John, we're starting to see it now. We've done a lot of work in understanding where we're going to see the market move most quickly, where the things, the 99% of the things we haven't yet connected, like televisions and phones and mobile phones, get connected. And there's a huge opportunity here. So the one that we think is going to move quite quickly is cities. We have seen Barcelona. We've seen cities like Hamburg. We're seeing cities in the United States start to consider that what they provide as a platform infrastructure is actually going to differentiate them from a job creation perspective, attracting companies to head office there or locate there, and most importantly, creating incubation for small companies to start up. So let's talk about
surveillance cameras. I can definitely see the cities investing in right now.
Yeah, and they do. But here's the point. If you looked at the experience we've seen in Barcelona, most of what's happened so far is someone's kind of gone after one service and said, let's create a wireless mesh for this application. It doesn't work, actually. The financials don't work. If you take the platform for a smart city, it's broadband, it's wireless, and it's a new methodology of delivering innovation and applications, which we would call cloud. And you can actually build those apps and get them out to citizens or get them out to people attending arenas. So here's what we're seeing. We're seeing that the connectedness of things that haven't been connected on a broadband platform with a lot of outdoor Wi-Fi is actually creating real benefits. Job creation in Barcelona, they've created hundreds of thousands of new opportunities, 1,500 new jobs. They've saved money, and you know, we all, in a European city, if you're looking for a parking spot, you'll drive forever, smart meters, and just imagine that what FedEx would look like if they drove to every business every day and knocked on the door and said, do you have a package? Imagine what could happen in trash removal in large cities when, in fact, you only went when the bin was full, and you actually completely transformed how that process is existing. So it's happening. In the United States, what we see is a huge opportunity for cable operators to focus on their platform as the way to enable that, and then to create an ecosystem of both private and business interests that happen.
Pat, I wonder how you look at this, because yesterday the CEOs of Comcast and Charter both talked about Wi-Fi, neighborhood Wi-Fi, using the in-home hotspots to create a sort of mesh that then gets filled in maybe by MVNO deals, but mostly driven by Wi-Fi as being the wireless strategy that they could use to become big players in this. Do you see that same strategy, or would Cox take a different tack?
No, actually, we are participating with both Comcast and Charter and Time Warner and Advanced Newhouse and Cablevision, and we have more nationwide hotspots today than anybody else, 250,000 of them. And our customers today can roam from a Cox market to a Comcast market to a Time Warner market today and have Metro Wi-Fi services available to them. Those types of platforms are the ones that I look out and I can see how exciting this is. And then not only as you roam, but in your neighborhood, in your home, in your business, giving you the ability with the devices you have in your life to immediately be authenticated and connected.
But it's going to take a lot more than the place where we are right now for that experience to compete with the wide area, the cellular networks that are moving to LTE and beyond.
So
I mean, do you push it that far?
I would challenge you the next time you're with Verizon or AT&T wireless folks, ask them what % of the data streamed on their devices is going over their network versus a Wi-Fi connection. And I'll let them answer that question.
I mean, I know that, but
it's eye-opening.
But when I travel, right, and I'm on my phone and I'm looking for reliability, like I know I'm going to be able to get to my email, to stream Wi-Fi. I know I'm going to be able to trust the network that I'm on. I tend to go to cellular, not to whatever random Wi-Fi hotspot I can hook up to. If I'm making calls, I'm making them over cellular. I'm not making them over Wi-Fi. At what point are the cable players going to be able to really compete full spectrum with what cellular offers?
Well, never a full spectrum, because there's parts of that business model that would not be attractive to us, and that is the role the wireless carriers have a very advantageous position. But I am telling you, for the majority of the usage that you do on a daily basis, you would be surprised at the availability of Wi-Fi that's probably very close to you, or you're actually standing in it, you don't even know it. And the 250,000 is going to only continue to grow.
Yeah, so John, I think the point is, we're thinking of Wi-Fi today as an availability in a shop or a store or a restaurant or in our home. And as we start to see the platform get deployed to pole tops and every other part of that network, it becomes very pervasive. In cities, what we already see, and we see it every single day in our lives, when you get into a high-density venue like Staples Center here in Los Angeles, it's Wi-Fi. Because if you're going to be there with 18,000 people attending a Lakers game or an LA game now that my Sharks have lost, you're definitely going to see Wi-Fi as the platform that enables that capability, and the video consumption that's happening there is going to require that.
There's some real technology challenges to making that a great experience, right? I mean, I want to be able to connect my phone to that network and feel that it's secure, not necessarily have to type in a password every time, but be able to look at my phone and see, okay, I'm on that safe network. I know that what I'm doing on this isn't being monitored by, that guy in the t-shirt 5 seats over, right?
I want you to be able to access it once and exploit it several times in your life. I don't want you to have to think about that. So the kind of things that Rob and Cisco are working on are things that keep things very seamless in our customers' lives, very simple, but in a way elegant, because the things we're talking about, and it's not just Cox, it's the whole industry with companies like Cisco, is how do we take a world that's very single-threaded today? Wi-Fi devices in your home, for example, are really engineered to work by themselves independently. And how do we think about a world where we think about that very differently, where we could put platforms in that house, use the cloud to do all of the power, but I don't have to put devices in your home, and get devices and platforms that are standardized so people can start plugging into those platforms. I was laughing last night. I was thinking about today's panel, and I gave my brother-in-law 5 years ago as a joke a Wi-Fi connected alarm clock. It was called Chumby. Anybody have a Chumby?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they went out of business. And the reason why I believe they went out of business is because it wasn't connected to anything else.
Because they were selling Wi-Fi connected.
All they were was a single threaded device. When my alarm went off, It also started my water heater, or sent the temperature in certain rooms, or if it was wintertime, turned on the heating coils in the floor, or got my coffee maker going. It's scary what that could have become. But the problem is we were very single-minded, and we have to think about a much more complicated world. I'm sorry,
Let's talk about
sidetracked.
No, it's okay. Let's talk about over the top briefly. How do you look at Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku, others that are moving in under the TV set? They're another option for people to access content. I mean, is that more opportunity, more threat? How do you decide how friendly to be to the streams that these content providers want to send through those boxes instead of, you know?
It's both competition and a friend, and it is the most interesting discussion to have. I haven't looked in the last 90 days, but at the end of the year, 40% of our broadband customers streamed at least one Netflix movie a month. So Netflix is very important to them. So we think about that. We want that to be a good experience, because clearly it's my broadband connection, and there's a lot of services, and you named Amazon, you named Apple, and other ones. I want that to be a positive experience.
What percentage of your broadband customers use on demand?
My broadband and my video customers, it's a very high percent, 70 or 80% use on demand.
Okay.
And so I haven't done that calculation based on broadband households. I've done it based on video households.
Makes sense.
But the point I'm making here
in
is...
any case, Netflix stacks up pretty well even against what's happening in on demand.
Yeah, Netflix stacks up well against other over-the-top providers, but I also have a video service, and Netflix keeps me on my toes. It makes me think about a world where my customers want on-demand content on any device, anywhere they go, and how do I get those rights for them so their life is very simple. We launched a product called Contour in August of last year, and Contour responded to 5 things our customers told us. They wanted more VOD content available. They wanted more tuners in their home for their DVR. They wanted more storage. They wanted access to all this content on second screens in their lives. And last but not least, they wanted a really powerful recommendation engine that kind of knew them and recommended other shows to them. During the month of February, 600,000 households at Cox have Contour now. 140 million learning activities were gathered by the recommendation engine, and almost 1 million times our customers consume that recommendation. The average household went from watching 22 channels a month, which just sounds odd, but it's about what the average household consumes, to 29 channels a month. Customers will respond if you innovate.
Yeah. So Pat, if you take a step back from that whole conversation about over the top, here's what we're seeing. We're seeing the whole industry moving to the construct of embracing the cloud in the cable industry as a new manufacturing platform, as a new way to achieve scale, speed, and application innovation. It's happening right now. That's what the whole show floor was about, a lot of cloud apps. So what does that actually mean? It means we are all going to have to move to a new model, a new kind of thinking. And that movement's underway right now. I can tell you it is underway right now amongst the people that are here. The movement is a DevOps model. You develop, you operate in one mode. You don't have an operations team and you don't separate those. You have to bring those together. You drop code every week or you drop code every day. You do a market trial by putting an application out there, doesn't work, pull it back. Those are very different thoughts, but they actually speed up the innovation process.
I'm confused a little by what cloud means in this context. I mean,
yeah. It means applications, and applications that can be managed and delivered in a central environment that tie to the network, that actually leverage the network and its capabilities, that actually still connect to the value of the set-top box at the end of that connection.
From the consumer's perspective, I mean, does this mean that the set-top box that I have and the experience that I have on my TV is going to get upgraded and improved more seamlessly, like I'm used to getting updates on my phone?
Big time.
From the consumer.
Exactly
I mean,
what it means.
You know,
Exactly.
the customer service experience that I'm able to access through the TV instead of having to call. Right. Is that what you're talking about?
Of course it means that. So, it means that the channel guide doesn't change with a hardware upgrade.
Got it.
It changes with a new drop of code, and by the way, before that drop happened, somebody tested it with a few homes and they didn't even know they had the test, and the feedback came back positive or negative. That's actually what's happening all day long on your phone today.
Right.
Somebody's dropping a piece of code or an image that has a new feature, people use it, it's embraced, it completely changes the innovation speed that cable's going to bring to that consumer.
But some platforms in the phone world are better at it than others. You take a look at Android, some phones, you can't upgrade them to the latest version. iOS, it's a little bit easier, but you have trade-offs. What's going to happen in cable? Is it going to be Comcast, Time Warner, and the others joining that consortium who end up becoming the Android or iOS that makes sure that the platform gets driven forward? Is Cisco going to make more of a play in that game? How
Yes,
do
we
you
are.
see that playing out?
So yes, we are. So underlying the delivery of that, you have to have a cloud capability. It's a manufacturing plant. It's a delivery vehicle. And we actually announced that we're going to build a collaboration with providers of the world's largest connected cloud, because you may not have a data center in Texas and you may need one. You may not have a data center in Germany and the customer there may insist on one. So we actually announced a strategy called Intercloud, which will be a connection of those clouds, because the network actually matters more than anything in high intensity and important value-based workloads. Video is a great example of an application that the network really matters. Ask everyone here, the network really matters when you deliver that experience.
What about the software?
We're in here.
What about the platform software that's living on the set-top boxes? Do you have a dog in that fight as far as what those are running and how standardized that needs to be for this vision?
They'll change. The platform will change, and sometimes the customer's going to want to bring their own, and at other times we will deliver an experience that will be differentiated when the application is being delivered centrally and innovating in real time, as every other app you expect from the cloud does. And the set-top box will have capabilities of rendering that application on the television or on my iPad or on my phone, and I'll be experiencing that desire, which I have, which is to see my content in linear fashion or when I want to see it and where I want to see it. And that's actually where this whole room is going right now, and we'll be part of that along with many of the players that are here.
So I'm going to give you a transformative example of another part of our business that we don't spend enough time talking about, and that's business services. The cloud has arrived in the business space. And so just let's use that set-top box for the video business. There was something in small, medium businesses called PBXs. They were boxes that had to sit inside these shops. If you wanted your phone system to work, this box ran your phone system.
Rob loves PBXs. Right?
Okay. Gone. It's now gone.
I like WebEx, because WebEx replaces a lot of those.
Yeah. We have something called IP-centrics. We go to small businesses now. You don't have to have any technology in your shop. It's all up in the cloud, your phone system. You just have to go on a location, basically, to type in on the web, and you put your account in, you can control your whole phone system. But now, every time we go through improvements, it happens virtually. You don't have to have anybody come out to your office and reconnect wires and put in chips and download software. Yeah. It's going to arrive in the residential space just as quickly.
Pat, we talked about this the other day, that a company we bought for $1.2 billion called Meraki. It's cloud networking. You can put a wireless controller, you can put a switch in your location. It needs a box, but the control of that and the management of that is all in the cloud. That business is exploding for us. Combine that with a broadband offer, combine that with a telephony offer, I think the SMB and commercial market is ripe with opportunity to deliver cloud services from the cable industry that bundle cloud applications together with broadband and voice and kind of create the six play instead of the triple play for small business. And it's actually happening right now. It's exploding in that market.
Pat, 5 years from now, who's gotten the margin out of all these changes? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's so many areas that maybe the operators, maybe a big equipment provider used to have pretty much a lock on that are now more up for grabs. So
what's it look like?
Yeah, 5 years from now, who's gotten the, I mean, I see all the benefit, I hear about that, but somebody always gets the money.
So let's walk through it. The linear video business, as you know it today, you got to be very careful. Video consumption is growing at record rates. Americans are consuming more video today than any time in the history of the country.
And the content providers are getting, content makers are getting
a large,
paid.
yeah. So our margins on the video business are getting tighter. That's a fact. We keep moving down the food chain here. Our broadband business, we're still adding broadband customers, and we are still investing heavily in our network to have the best broadband product in the marketplace. I think we continue to grow in that, and broadband enables all the things you just heard us talk about. Wireline phone, things will go on there, it'll be more IP, that business will remain, the pie is shrinking, but we'll probably get a bigger slice in a shrinking pie. Business services. Business services in our footprint is a $6.6 billion opportunity. If I run the math for the industry, the number falls somewhere between about $75 billion and $90 billion. And while we've been at it for a long time, and we're getting a big chunk of that, it's almost in our market over $1.7 billion to us this year. I think the industry captures over 30% of that over the next 5 years. Business services in the cloud and the things you're hearing us talking about will be very, very important to us going forward. And then I didn't even get into new business development.
Well, we got to wrap up. Last question I want to pose, net neutrality, fast lane. How do you convince people that you can have it both ways, that you can have a fast lane and that the main lane actually improves at the same time?
We just all need to focus on innovation. Consumers just want to see service innovation. They want to see things that are solving their problems. They want new experiences. And, you know, I would leave it alone and say, let's just focus on those that own the network actually have a chance right now as these trends emerge to actually make the network matter and deliver new services. And service innovation is what I think our consumers are looking for. And we have that whole platform right in front of us right now to deliver on.
But consumers don't want to end up, they want to pay less for faster speeds, right?
No, I think the mistake people are making is that somehow that we do commercial arrangements in all of our industries every day, and that somehow I'm taking something from you if I have a special arrangement. This isn't about taking anything away from anybody. The customers I have, you know, the 4.5 million broadband customers I have today, I have to take very good care of them. I'm increasing broadband speeds with them again this year. I have for several years in a row. 70% of my customers have 20
I'm always going to wonder, could you have made it faster and done it for less if you weren't so focused on giving that
I think
deal to the, you know?
It's not about giving a good deal, it's a business arrangement.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, if Netflix is paying for a faster lane and startup X, you know, wishes they had that faster lane as well, the consumer wonders, well, you know, because Netflix is getting all this attention.
I don't think that's the world I live in. I don't think it quite works that way. I mean, I don't think Netflix is getting a faster lane and that I'm hurting anybody. If our customers will have access to all of the product that's out there on the internet, that is our promise. That is what we're doing. We are not blocking anything. It's the worst thing I possibly could ever do.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, lots of people worried.
Shouldn't be.
But it's a fast-moving area. You guys are operating in it, and exciting times.
Thank you for coming today.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for the conversation.